More people get vaccinated, we are learning about the side effects of all 3 shots. So here to dispel fact from fiction is infectious disease expert Dr. Syra Madad. Thanks for being here with us, doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Okay, so the CDC could decide tomorrow, in fact, whether to resume use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. This coming on the heels of us learning that the facility in Baltimore was unclean and not sanitized. So that's a bit of, an alarm bell that goes off. But how likely is it that the CDC will give the green light despite the blood clots that a few people have gotten, and in fact, one person has died?
So the events associated with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine with the very rare blood clot and the low platelets is 1 in a million. And given the risk and benefit analysis, my assumption is that they will lift the pause, as you're seeing with other, similar agencies like the EMA, that's equivalent to the FDA in Europe, for example, that, has not put these restrictions, for example, or pause on. So I do think that this pause will be lifted, looking at how rare these events are and the overall benefit of the vaccine.
So what do you say, though, to people who are very weary of getting the J&J vaccine after this? I know you say it's going to be safe. The numbers are very low compared to those who've already received the vaccine with no problem. But still, folks in line to get a vaccine, obviously in their head, are going to think, if I don't have to get the J&J, I really don't want to.
Certainly, I think that's something that we definitely need to address, because these are real feelings, these are, real emotions. And as we hear of these types of stories, it's just natural human behavior to kind of pause and think, do I want to get this vaccine? And I think it's important to compare it to what is already happening in the world today. So when you compare, for example, this vaccine to other routine vaccines that we take on an ongoing basis, whether it's influenza or just the other immunizations that we take, you're seeing that the rate of a serious side effect or anaphylactic or allergic reaction is comparable. So when you're seeing for the COVID-19 vaccines anywhere from 2 to 5 cases per 1 million doses administered versus let's just say other routine vaccines, which is very comparable, up to 2 cases per 1 million. On top of that, we're also looking at what's happening around us. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. We're still seeing over 60,000 new infections every single day, which is, again, the tip of the iceberg. The likelihood of that number being, an underestimate is very, very high, with probably much more cases. We still have people dying. And if you take a theoretical model, let's just say 1 million people that are infected with COVID-19, within that 1 million people, you can anticipate about 5,000 people dying just from that disease. So taking a chance of, for example, with the J&J vaccine, at 1 in a million versus knowing thousands of people would die, out of that million.
Just run the numbers in your head. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we're also hearing, and I've interviewed folks like this on this very show, who are fully vaccinated but still get diagnosed with COVID. So does that mean that the vaccine isn't working?
So first, when we look at these types of instances, and we call these breakthrough cases where you're fully vaccinated and, you come down with COVID-19 essentially 2 weeks after your final dose, this is actually good news to see the low number of breakthrough cases. And let me take a step back to mention why I say that, because this is an expected event. We know that we are going to see breakthrough cases. And now looking at the data of how low these cases are, 0.007%, that's astronomically low. So again,
it's expected.
News, it's good news. Exactly. It's good news. And we need to take that as at face value that it is good news, because we know these events would occur, but seeing how low they're occurring, that is certainly good news.
So what about this? I've gotten the vaccine. I had almost 0 side effects. And there are others who have had side effects. And I'm hearing that, look, if you get side effects, that means it's working. But what about me when I didn't really have any side effects? Does that mean it's not working?
No, that's not true. Some people, certainly everybody has a different immune response, and these are reactogenic vaccines, meaning that they are going to have common side effects, but many people will not have any side effects. For example, my husband, he had, his full doses. He didn't experience any side effects. But me, on the other hand, after my first dose, for example, I was out for about a day. I had fever, chills. I had to take over-the-counter medication. So it's common. Individuals will, potentially experience local or systemic side effects. Local in terms of pain, redness, itching. Systemic meaning fever, chills, fatigue. All completely normal, all temporary, and will go away in a few days. But if you don't get any side effects, that doesn't mean that your immune system's not working.
All right, that's good to know. Do women have more side effects than men, or vice versa?
So certainly, there are gender differences, there are sex differences, and we are obviously biologically different. There are behavioral differences as well. And so it's not surprising if we see that there are more women than male that have certain types of side effects, or for example, with the J&J vaccine, you're seeing obviously these really rare blood clots, more women being disproportionately affected by it. But I think at the same time, these vaccines are extraordinarily effective and safe. And so certainly we're seeing cases of disease and infection in women and men. So, I think from that standpoint, we want to go ahead and encourage vaccination for everybody. But certainly there will be biological differences. And the more, we're into this, the vaccination program, the more we'll be able to see, and overall this pandemic, disproportionate impact it's had on races and different sexes.
We're all still learning through this pandemic. Dr. Madad, thank you for your insight. Nice to see you again and talk with you.